Alright, guys, let's talk about servers a bit. Um, I've seen a lot of you having trouble installing scripts on your server or maintaining them. A lot of you are actually posting on the forums asking for help to either install your scripts for free or for the reward. But some of you that are more familiar with installing the scripts, you still have um, some trouble understanding how the structure actually works. I mean, like you have these compatibility issues with different scripts, and for example, your custom compiles or variables. So in this video, let's just say guide, um, I'm gonna try to cover everything of that a little bit, and I'll do my best to explain it as good as I can. So I don't know, like grab a coffee or something, and yeah, let's see what you can do. Right. So first of all, I'm gonna be talking about the folder structure in general, and how Arma 2 folders work. Let's say with the DayZ mod, with the Epoch in this case. How are the files chain loaded? Basically, what are the main files that are actually loading the server? How does it work, And then we'll talk a little bit about variables. How do they affect your server config? And we'll talk about functions. How do they work? And why are there certain incompatibilities with the different scripts? And why would perfectly, you would follow the guide and you would follow it perfectly twice, three times, but it still doesn't work. And I'll be explaining you why that happens as well. And finally, we'll be exploring a little bit about the diffmerging files. Yeah, I'll be explaining you how you can, first of all, you can maintain your scripts if the new script is coming out, for example. Let's say an anti-hack. I have two folders up here already for that. How you update your anti-hack config with just diffmerging it instead of following each line separately. And I will show you, finally I'll show you how to diffmerge two different functions into a single one. So I'll be grabbing my Snap Pro, and I'll be grabbing a Plot for Life player build. It doesn't matter which ones I chose. I mean, the procedure is pretty much the same for every function or a file out there. All right, let's get going. All right, so let's start with the more obvious stuff. So we'll open our game directory, where our game is. In this case, it is in Games Steam for me, Steam apps, Common, Arma 2, Arrowhead. And since I'm using DayZ Launcher, the mod is being renamed, but it doesn't matter. If you're using DayZ Commander, you will not have the digits behind you. I do like doing it this way, because then I can keep different versions. I can, work on developing scripts for the next release of the Epoch that way. Don't concern yourself with that. Right, so to put it simply, let's open the Epoch folder here, and like all of these files there, like what do they mean? I mean, what is this? What is that? I mean, what's this? What's keys? What's add-ons folder? What is this? So how is this actually being loaded in the game? You actually, as a server admin, even though these are client files, you actually have to understand these things. It's not that complicated. Right? So again, let's start with the first. This first file, mod.cp, which is in the root directory of your mod, is what defines which version of the game it is, and this allows you, how do I put it, differentiate within versions. So for example, if the client has the wrong version, this will be the file that will define it, and if you manually change it, you won't be able to join the server because the signature will be different. So these files can't be changed. So that means, that just helps understanding your clients, that they join to your server. If they get the wrong version, this is what's causing it. Well, there's much more. going behind the scenes, but yeah, that's where it starts. The keys are used for the PBOs that are inside the Epoch folder. So these are signed using the password by add-on creator. In this case, it will be Able. So let's jump in the add-ons folder, right? And this is where the magic happens of the mod. Now, now we're just looking at this now, but first thing I'm gonna say to you, when the client joins the server, most of this is loaded, yes, but the code or the scripts are actually not loaded yet. So, right now, when I say that files are being loaded and at the same time they're not loaded, don't freak out. let me try to explain you, almost step by step. Let's just put it that way. Like how these files are actually loaded. Now, when you join the server or launch your game, first thing you see in the middle of the screen is a white texture thingy, a loading screen that does something in the background. Now, so that means when you launch your game, first of all, the game is being loaded, right? Then, after that, let me open that, show you. Arma has add-ons, okay? Yeah, add-ons folder. So these add-ons, our Arma engine is opening each of these PBOs. Let's just open a Desert T, right? And it is looking for config bin files, okay? Well, that's pretty much it. Doesn't look for anything else, to my knowledge. So when the game is loaded, it loads local game configs, but the actual data, like textures, models, they're not being touched yet. And this is why, for example, our Arma is sometimes lagging or stuttering for you, like because all of these data files are actually being loaded later on from the hard drive while you're playing the game, which also explains why SSD would be faster, or a RAM drive, for example. Basically, these things here, all the objects you see here, they are being loaded on demand from the hard drive within the game, not loaded in RAM, because this is a 32-bit application and it is very limited to how many RAM it can use. And I think I'm pretty sure it was designed around 2 gigabytes of RAM. I could be wrong there. So again, you see the weapons one again. This one will be loaded. All these folders will not be touched, right? For the starters. And when the PBO files are made, the config.bin file is generated, but only if the PBO file is actually binarized. So that bin means binarized, which means it is encrypted. So you can't read the contents, you can't open the P3D files, you can't read the bin file. Well, of course you can use an unwrap or something like that to read the config, but again, yeah, if you don't binarize, this config file will be called config.cfg. And there's another type of config which is called vehicle configs, and those, like these type of configs here, they have to be linked to each other, like through include files. So you can have these config files within all these folders, right? But when you're making a PBO or you're binarizing it, all of these configs are being like the engine would use all these include lines of code to find all of the configs within these folders and then just compile them into one single config, one larger config file in here. And pretty much the same goes with the vehicle configs, except that the vehicle configs they do not need to be included anywhere. They can be just scattered around the folders, and it'll find them anyway, and it'll add them. Which is kinda weird mechanic, but that's how it works. So that's why, again, SSD or RAM drives helps, because these contents are being loaded on demand while the game is running live. So, local game configs. Let's go back a bit to our mod folder here. Now, again, the same thing would pretty much happen in here. Okay, when you're loading at mod, your mod equals at epoch, right? The game will also load mod configs into the memory. Are you following now? All right. Now, after that's done, we have joined the server, and the server has accepted. So let's say server accepts the client. What else? Like, how do you load the scripts, and what's responsible for the chain that loads all of these scripts? Now, funny enough, it is actually mission config, not the server, not the client. It is actually the mission config that is loaded when you join the mission. So, you know, you can sometimes join the server, you can download the mission config. Okay, it looks all right, but then suddenly the game doesn't work, and this is why. So let's open our server, Epoch server. Okay, so MP missions for me, and I renamed it to tutorial.chernarus for the sake of it, because it's a clean installation. Right, so the next file which is being loaded, it's called a mission config or description.ext. So a mission config, which would include stuff like dialogues, your classes, your custom class names, for example, which does not mean it cannot be CFG vehicles or CFG weapons, and it cannot be CFG magazines. Those three cannot be added here, but anything else can be. You know, they are custom configs. Like, for example, snap building, it uses a config file to define where the snap points will be located on an object, for example, and I am using config file within the mission. It is pretty much the same structure. It can be either used in a mod, in a PBO. In this case, all of these files are usually kept in DayZ code. Where is my DayZ code? There you go. All right. Although this is again the DayZ code folder, it is binarized, so all of these configs are kept in here. And but the mission side one would be kept in the description.ext. So the mission config is loaded, and if you get any errors, you'll like once you download it, you will also see these, like a file cannot be found, or the class name has been already defined somewhere else, and then you know, stuff like that. Right. The next file, the next two files, the major files, will be let's just go with mission first, okay? The mission.sqm file, that one is loaded. Let's say that one is loaded next, but I'm pretty sure they loaded at the same time. But let's just say this one is loaded next. So this file, let's just open it up. Right, this file is responsible for what add-ons will be loaded together. For example, all of these add-ons here, they refer back to all of these PBOs in here. Like the file names might not match them, but don't worry about it. That's actually, it's like a shortcut-ish thingy. For example, in here, DayZ code, see, you would have a lot less add-ons in here than PBOs in here. Like there's a lot of PBOs. I mean, what else defines them? Well, it's all defined under CFG patches in a config file under DayZ Epoch, so you don't have to worry about it. You know, unless you are coding for, let's say you are contributing for DayZ Epoch on a GitHub for Able, you know, you would actually need to know these things. But if you're just administering the server, you don't worry about it. But again, some of these files already have a config called CFG patches that is linking to rest of the PBOs. And for example, if you're loading a Overwatch server, like it's called Overpox, you would need to add some of the PBOs that's included in a Overwatch. But in this case, DayZ code of watch is not really loaded, okay, because we're using Epoch's DayZ code. So that's why you would have to add a ton of add-ons by hand. Get it? So that explains all the errors you get as well. And the rest of it is again a bunch of classes, and it creates groups. It creates AI. It creates map market types and stuff like that. This is all static information you can add. You can also, obviously, all of this here you can also add dynamically through your own scripts, but mission.sqm is used for static information. Like, for example, if you open the map and you join the server, you see, well, there's a server trader here. It's got, in Starry, sorry. So you see that map marker there. So it's all defined in here. And for example, these here, they are just spawn points, as far as I know, for people. Right, enough of that. So the next file, I'm just gonna close that for now, okay? The next file that's loaded is init. Right, this is where the magic happens, where the actual magic happens. This is what actually loads the Z code. This is what loads the server files, and this is what loads your client and rest of the PBOs, yeah, if they contain any type of a code. Okay, so let's dive into that, and then let me explain you how it actually works. All right, so let's open our init file, and off the bat you can see there's a lot of variables defined here, and then let's go down a bit. There's some compiled functions in here as well, and is server thingy and is not dedicated. What does that mean? I mean, what the hell? What is this? Right? Now, let me tell you right off the bat, these variables here, okay, they mean nothing to the server. At this point, it is just you're literally just defining variables. You can put anything you want. You know, if you have error undefined variable thingy in RPT log, you can actually add it here. You know, so it'll become defined variable. But other than that, defined variables happens here. Okay, in this path. So Z add-ons DayZ code. Well, hold on a second. What is Z? How does this work? I mean, how do you know? How do you tell the game what is Z? I mean, if you open the folder, right? Ahead, Epoch. There's no Z in here. What the hell? There's no Z in here. How does it work? Now, if we open the DayZ, like since it's opening the DayZ code here, stop that. We open it up. No Z, nothing. Right? So just to demonstrate what it is, let me just press the cogwheel here. It's called prefix. Okay, guys. Well, mystery solved. Right? It's called prefix for the PBOs. There you go. So Z add-on DayZ code. So when you add prefixes to your PBOs, this is how you can tell the code like where to find the file, which PBO file we're talking about, right? So it can be anything. I mean, I could literally change this code 123, right? I'm not gonna do that, but if I could, all I need to do is just change the name 123 here, and it will work again. You don't need to change this name here. It's probably a little bit hard to explain, but you know, I hope you get the idea. Let me quickly open the GitHub, right? So I have forked DayZ Epoch from Abel's GitHub, right? So go on the SQF, and there's the DayZ code. This is all unbinarized. This is all open source code. And let's again open this the same PBO here. And if you remember, I was talking about config.bin file. You can see here it's called config.cpp, not CFG, my apologies. Yeah, it's called config.cpp. And that's like the main config file. It's pretty small. I mean, it's just 3 kilobytes. But again, if you open that one, go boom, you know, there's the include stat. The HPP is an include file. It's same as C++, you know, CPP, HPP, get it? And the CFG patches I was talking about, required add-ons, there you go. This is where the rest of the add-ons are being defined. And again, a shit ton of includes in here, which, you know, brings you to the rest of the folder directory. And again, those files have their own includes and blah 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 blah, etc. etc. So where is it? Easy code. There we go. So is the file. It's called $PBO prefix $. It can also be called just prefix $, prefix $. It's just a file. It has no extension. This is a file that is used for applications like PBO Manager, CPPBO, Kagatis, PBO, like pretty much all of them. Anything that does PBOs, right? This file is being read. You can also do it manually, of course. But yeah, in PBO, there's another one there. These files, these applications, they're reading this file to create a PBO prefix property. Right? If I open this one, yeah, you can see, you know, it says the path. There you go. So that is how the prefixing works. So now you know. Right, so let's go. So the first thing, again, these are just variables. They mean nothing to the game. They actually don't do anything by themselves. But why are they there? And this is why we are compiling a variables SQF file within a DayZ code. I'm gonna leave this. I'm just gonna close this for now. Right? We don't need those anymore. I am gonna be using an open source code for this because it actually does not include any binarized crap, so you know it'll be easier to understand. So it is leading us to DayZ init variables, right? So there you go. Again, Z add-ons DayZ code. We are inside DayZ code and init variables. Some of the scripts, when you install them, they tells you to bring these variables SQF file over to your mission file. You can also you know, get it from the PBO files. Why do they do that? Why do they tell you to do that? Well, 9 times, well, let's just actually say 5 times out of 10 they are correct, maybe. Unless there are huge changes, you're actually putting extra load in your server. It is actually false information. It is not required. The same goes with compiles, when like this, which is the next one here, right? When the add-on makers, they tell you to bring over the compiles file, they are sorry, I'm sorry, but they're wrong. You don't need to do that. Neither of the files. Let me explain you why. First of all, let's open the variables. Right? Let's go full screen. These are variables. And these are variables. There's nothing else here. This is just bunch of variable defines. Okay? So let's say building roads, for example. If I can find it here. There you go. When you open a init file, the first thing it says, can you build on the roads, right? So I could just take it, like remove it. Literally, I could remove it. It will still work. The code will still work. This is how it works. If the variable DayZ build on roads is not defined, if it's nil value, so if you don't add this, you'll get errors that the variable is not defined. But if it's not defined, this is what variables.sql file does. You define it. You know, it's as simple as that. If it's not defined, you define it. So these will be static default variables, pretty much for everything. Even like, you know, what would be the other one? Like paraspawn again. There's another one here. Paraspawn. Shit like that. So again, this is what I mean. You could literally take these variables and you could delete them, and it will still work. They will still be loaded. They'll be still loading. Be loading. Sorry, default variables, the exact same ones as here, right? So, what else this variables does? Well, it defines variables. It defines arrays. It defines, like for example, in here, model variables, all the skins. All players. I think these are the allowed skins that players can use. So it's an array of skins, you know. So here's the beautiful part. When somebody, like, you want to add an extra skin, just a single line from you're just following a tutorial, and the guy says, well, add this, like, you need to copy variables SQF to your mission file and copy. All bullshit, man. No, you don't need to do that. Let me show you what you can actually do. Let's create a new folder, and we'll call it, doesn't matter what you call it. I love to call it custom because it's all custom stuff. It is nothing to do with vanilla stuff. I like to call it custom, right? And some of the people likes also to make folders called fixes, additions, whatever. I just keep it custom. It's my thing. Right, so I'm gonna actually copy variables here, like the add-on makers make you to do, but I'm not gonna keep it there fully. And I am gonna add let's just copy this line quickly. And call it. It was in custom folder. Again, you see, there's no need for the prefix, okay? Right, so you can. Oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, there's another prefix. It's called Daisy add-ons, Daisy server, and there's a Daisy code. So this one will be all about the server. I'll explain that a little bit later, okay? So now we are loading our custom variables, okay? And which means with this line here, I'll leave that, okay? It will be loading the full file. It will literally, what we're doing here is we are going into a client files, right? And we're loading all the default variables. And then we are taking a mission file and we're reloading the same variables. I mean, literally, we're doing the same job twice, which is bullshit. I'm telling you right away. It's not required. So if we want to change something, right? You don't need the whole file here. You don't need it. Let's say a mod added something. I don't know. We're adding. Let's add something to cooking, for example, right? Say item topaz. Well, if we only want to add, we want to cook this item topaz in the game, right? Right off the bat, like 90% of add-ons will tell you, well, you go in and download this variable. I mean, you copy it over and you just add this single line or add this single. There's actually an add-on reusing this line here. It tells you to copy over variables just to change this one array. Sorry, this is bullshit, man. This is not needed. So you could literally take this. Oh, we're gonna leave the serialization. And this and that and this. Shift page down. There you go. Out. You don't need it. That's it. You're done. Literally, because what you're doing here, you're only redefining a single array, which is also a variable. So variable array consists of multiple smaller variables. In this case, it's just a bunch of strings. Okay, that's it. Magic's done, right? And the file is done from 40 kilobytes to 1 kilobyte. Right? And if another add-on tells you to change the skins, this is what you do. Done. Let's say, oops. My awesome skin. That's it. You're done. I mean, look, 2 kilobytes. Wow. So yeah, don't just blindly follow the guides. Try to understand what is actually going on. So those guys, what they're doing, just to change a single variable, they actually tells you to re-upload the whole file, which is not required. In fact, most of you, if you are into the scripting, guys, if you're doing add-ons, please stop this. Okay, please stop even thinking of using variable.sqf file, please. Right? Please, guys, please. What you do is you take your own add-on and you define it there, okay, and just leave it at that, right? Unless there is specifically multiple add-ons reusing the same thing, it's a whole different story again. Then there will be add-on incompatibilities, but again, please, right, guys, please. Right, let's go with the next one. Not gonna touch that. So we have our variables defined, okay, and that's it. I mean, it's just bunch of normal variables. If the variable does not exist, we define a variable, and there's a custom one. And again, if you look here, array, sorry, string, array of variables, a lot of like empty strings, arrays, all defaults, and this one here is actually a function. It's not array, and it can be called. And what it does is actually it's a simple function that redefines all that you can find in f and self actions. It just resets everything back to -1 because the actions or self actions or add action, they are actually indexes of single digit variables. Well, not single digit, sorry, but just variables. Okay. Right. And what else we have? Yeah, just some booleans, some empty arrays. Again, arrays. See how simple that is, right? It's just redefined. Arrays again. It's all the same thing, You don't need to redefine this whole thing again and again. Loading files is bullshit, guys. Your add-on should be doing your own variables, or if you want to use this file, for God's sakes, please stop reposting the full file and increasing your mission file unnecessary. Not needed. And the same goes with the compiles. Now, let's talk about compiles. This is where the actual magic happens, how the server's being loaded up. Alright. Again, a lot of tutorials will tell you to use custom compiles, which is fine. Even my own add-on reuses it. And again, a lot of add-ons tells you to bring compiles over, which is again pile of BS. I'm sorry, guys, it's just pile of BS. I'm gonna bring it over and explain you why. And this is where all the add-on incompatibilities happens. This is where the problems start. Mostly with this particular file. Before we start, actually, I'm gonna open the custom compiles here. Not the custom, sorry, the default one. And quickly try to explain you what is going on, right? So again, the first thing, this is where the actual rest of the code of the DayZ is loaded. This is where the server is initiated, right? Server code. Let me show you. So the first thing, right? We're going one step back. It goes back to DayZ compile, play zombie checks and all that kind of stuff. Compile. So done here, right? So all of these files are being loaded from this single file, pre-compiled. When you pre-compile something, it is being loaded directly in memory. So all of this is not being loaded on demand. It is actually saved into your RAM. So these things can be accessed faster. But again, there is, of course, as you know, this doesn't mean it's perfect solution. It adds to, there's always downside. I mean, okay, it's faster because it's loaded in RAM, but that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Don't worry about it. So again, a bunch of functions, loading everything from compiles, and there we go. This is where the action starts. So we are loading the actions folder, right? Let me actually do it this way. So now we're loading out the actions folder. We're loading the system folder, etc., etc. You get the idea. And this is where we just define default actions, default functions. Bad. So these functions, they're like a small blocks of code that can be called anytime you want, right? And like for example, you want to initialize the display, for example. This is the function you call equip check player call. I just checked your inventory. It's cool. Gear dialog. This is how you create the dialog, right? So basically, you could literally make a script instead of pressing G. You could, just call this script and it'll create the dialog showing your gear. What else? What else? This is config trader. This is where this is being called when you are using, like if like in a mission file size, right? In your init, if you're defining Daisy Epoch config trader, it will then load a trading menu, right? But if it's false or not used, again, you go back to variables file, and if the variable is not, if this variable was not defined beforehand, but beforehand I mean this part here, if it was not defined, it will be false by default, which is in variables. Okay, so then it will be loading a trader menu that is using Hive instead, or database. And it's about, yeah, there we go. And this is my favorite one. This is how you get this is the fastest way to get of finding out player positions. Either it's in the water or not, doesn't matter at all. Perfectly find exact position. Love this function. And there we go. And the final one is server. Right, there's the same one here. If this file is being read by server, which it is, so the client, which means clients will be ignoring this line, but the server will be, okay, loading it. It starts loading Z add-ons Daisy server init server functions. Boom. This is where the server is being loaded. Okay, only after the compiles are being loaded. Alright. So when someone tells you to bring compiles over, you're literally loading a whole freaking directory. Let me show you. Let me show you. Right? Let me show you this, guys. What they make you to do. The guys who makes add-ons, I mean, hats off. Thank you for doing this for the community. They tells you to reload all of these PBOs twice, and then they pretty much forces you to reload MB missions. Oops, no, well, it wasn't MP missions. Epoch server. And then they tell you to reload Daisy PBO twice again. Now, which brings us again. This is the last line. It brought us to this file. So let's extract it. Let's look into it. Right. So now, where is it? Did I close it? I closed it. Sorry. Let's just open it from here. It doesn't matter. It's the same file. Right. So if it's a server, not the client, we're loading in Daisy server files, server functions. So in it, server functions, and boom, the same thing again. It's the same structure as in compiles, but just the server side, right? Again, the prefix, daisy server, and the rest of the files compile, and within the compile again, next they contain the rest of the shortcuts to the rest of the files. And again, some of the bunch of the functions, like how to publish object, reduce size, whatever, local cleanup, high write. So it's literally a high write would be a function that is like you have this data part. You are calling the function and you're passing argument called something with that contains data in it, and then it calls calls extension, which is just calling DLL file with received file, which is this. Simple stuff. There's no rocket science here, guys. And yeah, well, you get the idea. Not gonna touch that file anymore, right? Now then, let's install a Snap Building Pro and following a wrong guide. So in it, and then we have compiles. We were loading compiles, and then from that we were functions, and that's pretty much it, right? So this is how the loading happens. Yeah, let's install that. Where's my GitHub? There you go, Snap Pro. And right off the bat, it says, whoa, compiles, but it's just 1 kilobyte. Some other add-on told me to, bring this file over. What is going on? I mean, what? Let me show you 2 things that add-on makers are usually doing wrong. Right? It's not necessarily wrong, but it's completely unnecessary. It just adds to the load times, and then there's a lot of compatibility issues and shit like that. Right, so what I'm gonna do is the worst what people does. I mean, what the I'm sorry for the expression. What the fuck, guys? You open up my compiles and you see, oh, is dedicated. Is not dedicated, then load, player build, snap build, and daisy space interrupt. Fine, let's copy over and let's add it here. Boom. Are we done? No, we're not done. This is wrong. Let me show you why. Because same as with variables, you've just defined that player build function is compiled and grabbed from this file. So this file is actually a one large function. Here's the problem. There's another one like that. There's another one like that. Oh, whoa. Don't mind the structure here, guys. Well, at least don't mind this part for now. You can mind it in 104.5 too, but not now. Anyway, there's another function like that. What happens here, it's same as the variables, right? For example, again, apples, bananas, right? Apples, 1. Apples equals 5. Guess which variable will be used? It's the second one, because everything is read from top to bottom. So you're configuring apples to be 1, and then you're reconfiguring the same variable to be 5. Which means this will not be used. Which means, again, that you added Snap Pro on top, and then this file is being loaded. Which means my player build will not work again. That's it. Basta. Will not work. There's a space interrupt. Again, your F button will not work because you're redefining the default one. Don't, please, guys, please, stop doing it this way, okay? It's bad. That's not how you do it. So how do you do it? Basically, we're literally just gonna grab a full line here, and we're literally gonna delete everything here, right? That's it, empty file in a mission, in your mission file, okay? And we just copy, paste it, and we're done. That's it. That's how you install an add-on properly. Let me explain you why. This brings us back to an init file here. Sorry. We are loading. First of all, we are calling and loading add-on daisy code compiles, which is client side from the client PBO, which is called daisy PBO, right? It's found in daisy code by the prefix. So when all the functions are loaded, we are loading custom functions to replace old functions, which is in custom compiles. So now we're only interested, we are only interested to loading these bunch of ones and we're replacing them if they exist. Like for example, this one will not exist in 105.1, but these two will, and now we're just replacing them because we are kind of upgrading them, editing those functions, right? Because add-on is reusing them and add-on is changing them. You get the idea? This part here, why would you need that? Well, simply because you only want to load this on the client side. You can load it. I mean, come here, look at this. Right? We just got rid of it. Will it work? Yes, it will work. It will work just fine. It will work perfectly fine. What is the problem? If you don't define this part here, also the server also will be loading it. It just adds the load times, and the server will have a useless function in it because the function it cannot use. Why would you do that? And you know it's being loaded in the server's RAM. Why the hell would you do that? You know, so there you go. So you only force it on the client only. Right. So we have our custom compiles. If I have our Snap Pro, I just bring it over. Although I am not using custom variables. What I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna delete it. Screw it. I'm tired of that shit. What I'm gonna do is add my Snap Pro. So again, this is the mission config file, right? This is needed for dialogues or for the class names. Include custom Snap Pro, and it was snap points HPP file again, an include file, right? So that's the installation done. That's how you install Snap Pro. How easy that was, right? Now, what else? All right, let's talk a little bit about diffmerging. Now on here, I have a Infistar anti-hack. This would be old one, and this would be the new one that I just received. Let's just say we just received a new email from him, but oh my god, you have to reconfigure every single oh my god. No. Stop being lazy, alright? Do update your anti-hacks, alright? Stop the hackers joining your server. And please, guys, please do not post any of this code online, okay? And especially some of you geniuses, you're uploading this to your GitHubs. You're literally forking a public repository, like for example from EAVO, and then you're for some reason you're adding all this shit to that repo, your forked repo, and some of you are even adding anti-hack. I mean, what the hell? Are you fucking retarded or something, guys? Come on, seriously, you're making anti-hack public, which means hackers have full access to the code, and they, you know, and what? You just paid for the anti-hack, right? And everybody can use it, and hackers knows how to bypass it. Well, please use that head of yours, okay? Now, run aside. Let's take our old one. Okay, let's just configure it somehow. Don't worry, showing your config file is safe. Don't worry about it. But the rest of the files, I would not use those, please don't. So let's say just configure it something. Top menu, anti-hack. Just gonna put a bunch of nonsense here, and we're gonna recolor it. Oh, it goes to 1 only. 0.5. And yeah, that's alpha channel. Let's just put it something random. God damn it! Did you just see what happened? This is called SQF syntax. Please Google that one. Right? Let me type it here. Notepad plus plus SQF syntax highlighting. Right? You want to use that. Trust me, you want to use that with your Notepad plus plus. What happened was, this is an array for a variable. If I miss a comma, it'll tell me where the error is. Okay. There's another example. See, immediately broke the next line there. It's good. It's a good thing to have. Now we're just gonna change some of these quickly, right? Randomly. So, you see that? Fossil. Because it's not dark blue, it means it is a typo. There you go. Right, that's enough of that. Actually, no, let's just add a few more dialogues. Alright, this is our alt config, and I'm gonna close everything down now, right? Now, you want to use application something like called a Diffmerge. There's quite a few of them that you can use, but I like Diffmerge. It's doing the work for me, fine. So again, it's called Diffmerge, right? So I right click, remember file. If I only want to edit a specific file, I just remember a specific file and go with a specific file. So the changes are being done from left to right. Okay, so you always want to keep the older version on your left. So this is the old one. Swap around and open it up, and instantly you can see the changes we did. Okay, so we didn't change anything in bottom, so it pretty much stays the same. Well, we did do some changes on the top, right? So this part here, if you check, the changes were 1, 2, 3, SS, and blah 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 bullshit. So instead of writing it, copy pasting everything to another file, literally you just need to do is press the part you changed, and bring it over. You're done. We changed this part, but again, if you look at it closely, I mean, what is this? This is some kind of ARF. There's a new line there, and then again, the next line we changed it to false. Done. Fixed. We're gonna leave that one. Yeah, we're gonna leave that one. We decided not to use false rules there anymore, so whatever. Well, I'm gonna skip that one. Actually, we changed our mind. We wanna change that, and we wanna add our custom dialogues. We're done. Control S, and you are done. That's it. It's as simple as that. You literally updated your file. How freaking simple was that? Let me show you another trick. Diffmerge, and let's clear the file list. Close this. Right, again, we take our new one and remember folder. This is how you diffmerge multiple files within the folder. Right, so there we go. All of these files have been changed by Chris or Infestack, the author of it. So we have like the files that are exactly the same, that matches, they are not included here. Okay, so those files will be ignored by Diffmerge. Only the files that actually got changed are in here. So right off the bat, we can see that some of the battle life filters got changed, and if you don't see those here, you don't need to worry about them. See how simple that is. You don't need to re-update your battle life filters. So you can see that Overwatch and Overclock, we have different battle life scripts. We have a change log, which is different. Let's open the change log. So oh, you can see the red part here on top. All the Chris did is just add a single line, right? Obviously you're not gonna diffmerge change log for God's sake. But again, yeah, SQF. This is the main anti-hack file. I'm not gonna show it on the video. Okay, it's not secure. And again, the same config we did earlier. You know, we left these two variables untouched, but it still showed up here because they are different. Cool. Is that simple enough, guys? Good. Let's go do something more advanced then. All right. And here I have my good buddies, Rimblocks Plot for Life, and there's a lot of people using it. I'm literally a lot of you using it. But what we're gonna do? We're gonna get the Snap Pro, and we're gonna get the Plot for Life to work together. I'm gonna actually literally show you how to make them compatible with each other using Diffmerge. The same thing. Okay, the same thing applies to any other add-on there. If you try to get Diffmerge them to be compatible, please do not just blindly follow these steps. Okay, please just sit there, don't do anything, and just try to understand it. Right? Trust me, it's not as hard as it looks like. So the files that are different within these two files are player build.sqf function. So I'm gonna grab Snap Pro. Oh wait, I already had it. Genius. Doesn't matter. Just to grab it there, and we're gonna grab Rimblocks Plot for Life. Right, let's close that. All right. There you go. So fuck that. So we are bringing this one guy, this over here. This is from Snap Pro, and custom. There you go. There's another conflicting file here. So we're gonna call it. Oopsie. Go snap and just gonna rename this to Plot for Life. Right. Remember file and remember file. Now you have to kind of choose which file you want to edit. So the changes will be done from left to right. You cannot do the changes from right to left. Some of the applications let you do that. I think meld merge, that application lets you do that. But in Diffmerge I can't do it. I know that there's a lot of stuff have been changed in the player build file. Okay. In the Snap Pro, and there's less to do in Snap Plot for Life. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave Plot for Life on left because there's less to be added. I know that out of experience, but again, you know, just play around to see which needs more updating or not. All right. So wow, what's going on? Well, don't freak out. Don't worry about it. Now, on left here we have Plot for Life, and on right hand side we have a build snap. Actually, you know what? Just for the sake of it, I'm actually gonna do it the other way around. Let's give ourselves a little bit of extra work. So, as you can see, Snap Pro actually adds a ton of updates, and it's look at it. The amount of stuff has been added. It might be a little bit confusing at start, but yeah. If you're trying to attempt to diffmerge these files, you might wanna learn the structure first. Sometimes, like for example, in this case, is just too much of the changes been done to an initial file, so it's not gonna be easy. But again, if there is only a version change, if there is minor changes happening, For example, I am adding just this line here. It will be as simple as diffmerging that line there. But it's not the case now. Alright. It's not the case. So let's just go take our time and let's just go through it step by step. Now, for example, on the left hand side we can see that we're defining private function, private array, and some of the stuff like in the red text, only the left part of the code has it, which is build snap, but the right hand side doesn't have it. However, if we scroll down a bit to the right hand side here, you notice there is a red text in here, which means the plot for life also has something different in the same array or a same code line. So to mitigate that, what we're gonna do is actually gonna copy it. We're gonna save it. So let's go plot for life and player build. Open them both up, split them apart here. Right. So this is the first part we're changing now. Let's keep it the same. Right. So snap on the left, plot for life on the right. What we're gonna do is just simply gonna grab these just to mitigate the problem, right? Just add them to the after is trunk as well, so it looks the same. So what this means now, if we minimize it, Diffmerge will automatically find out that there were changes in the files. So we reload the files. Now if you look at it, there's no red text on the right hand side anymore, which means we can simply take and push our changes to the right hand side. Done. Look here, this is fully my code. Yep. Let's save the push down. Helper detach player UID. Right, so this line, plot for life uses this line here. So what I'm gonna do again, save the file, come back here. I'm running document monitor, it automatically updates the files for me. What we're gonna do, we're gonna find that line, which is 46. Get player UID, and we'll add it just above Q, Daisy Epoch Q, right? So it looks kind of the same. Right, there you go. Reload it, and now, see, player UID also exists for our file. There's no more problems now. And we just diffmerge that one. Boom, done. That doesn't replace anything. Boom. That replaces something. So position. So what I did here, if you're an add-on maker, I'm just gonna tell you right away. Originally, you were counting an array, okay, and every single time you count it, you request the player position. This happens within split second, within milliseconds. So every time you do that, you ask a game to find the player position, which is not required. So what I did instead was I was defining position. It's somewhere here. Fuck it, it's somewhere there. So you only defined it once, and then it's just a static variable. You know, just a little bit of optimization, I guess. Right, we diffmerge that. That's fine. Character and owner ID, no. We don't change that because that's for plot for life. Plot for life, what it does, it uses, it kind of manipulates a character or player IDs, and it adds them to the database. So we don't change that. That's nothing to do with the build snapping at all. But again, these things you actually kind of need to know. Can try to think about it. Try to use that brain of yours, I guess. Right. Delete that. They don't care about dialogues, diagnostic logs. Player Daisy character, that is his. I don't care about that. We're not changing it. Now this is what I've talked about earlier. Function get passed from compiles file. This is what I love. And yes, and this one is just using normal ATL one, which means it does not work with the water bases. We don't want that. We want to change it. So screw you. That's it. Done. Object attached, position get position. Yeah. We don't need that, and that is both lines are for Snap Pro. That's cool. Directions, yeah, that's Snap Pro. That is Snap Pro. Function. Yeah, we don't need that. That is Snap Pro. That's just a diagnostic log again. We don't care about. Just overwrite it. Again, get position, detach object. Again, it's nothing to do with database thing. It's all just Snap Pro. So Diffmerge it. Set direction. I changed that. Yeah, so we remove it by applying empty fields to the right. Surface is water. Yeah, that's Snap Pro. It's helper detach helper directory. That is Snap Pro. Get position object helper. That is Snap Pro. Position call function. Yeah, that is Snap Pro. Detach blah blah blah. Snap Pro. Location 10.5. That is Snap Pro. Reason within 10.5 meters. Yeah, we change it back to 10 meters. Detach must. That's mine. Location distance. That is mine. That is mine. Detach. Yeah, that's just an empty field, so we use it there anyway. Detach object helper. That's Snap Pro. Snap Pro. This surface water again. Snap Pro. Opener player UD. We don't change that. Okay, so we don't add the empty line that is used by Plot for Life. Player UID that is used for Plot for Life. Owner UID Plot for Life. Publish Plot for Life. Done. That's it. You just literally merged two very complicated scripts together to get one single working one. See how simple that was. Now we have a new Plot for Life one. Right, old, and it is fully updated, right? So we check again. We have player UID filled here. If you remember, at the very beginning, we defined player UID here as well, but some stuff like that, snap wires comes from snap building. So we just literally combine two different scripts with no problem at all. And I mean, literally, guys. What I just did is actually not as easy. This is actually pretty complicated part of diff merging. Most of the times, like 90% of times, you will have no problem doing it yourself. I mean, it'll be so much easier to do. But this was actually kind of complicated. So there you go. And the complicated was not even complicated. It was it was a joke. It was super easy to do, right? So again, if you're using something like vectors, like for example, now you take your newly created file and you start merging it with the vectors. Anything else, you make your compatible file with the add-ons you use, and again start merging with the fourth add-on that uses player build. It's as simple as that. Right, guys, I hope this kind of helps you a little bit. I know it's a little bit long. It took a while to do this tutorial. I do hope it helps you out. I do hope you understand how file structures now work, how to find your problems, how Arma is being loaded in, and how to diffmerge shit, how to do your variables properly, and how do they work. Why you don't need to bring a whole file over. Again, bullshit. You don't need to do that. Right? Never ever do that. It's not needed. So, and I hope you understand why and how the variables are being filled, how the functions are being filled using a compile, for example. So why you don't need to bring over the compile file. If someone tells you to do it, it's bullshit, right? Ignore it. You don't need that. And then some of you, I've actually noticed, and before we end this, where's my server? MP missions tutorial, right? Some of the add-ons tells you to have multiple custom compiles, and yeah, Oops, wait, that was variables, my bad. Actually, I removed that file. You know, compiles to or snap. What? No. No. What the hell, guys? No. No. Why would you do that? This is the same thing. I mean, you're literally just overwriting each other. I mean, okay, fine. As long as the compiles in these files are different, it's fine. As long as the functions are not the same, you're cool. But that's not required. Just take these and merge into a single file, guys. Come on, seriously. And I mean, when you have your custom shit in a single file, you also only the custom, right? Nothing default, nothing brought over. Okay. Do not bring over anything you're not changing, right? You have empty file, clean file. You start clean. You add your snap pro, and then you add compiles for plot for life. Keep them in a single file, so you can always see if there are two conflicting functions overriding each other. And then if there are, and you need both of them, you grab the diffmerge and you make them into single file. Delete the one of the functions and keep the other function that leads you to your diffmerged file. It's as simple as that, and keep it that way. Okay, and then you'll never ever have any compatibility issues ever again. Right, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand what I was talking about. Let me know if you have any troubles understanding some of the details, probably. If you have any questions regarding all of this, please do ask them in the forum. I'll be posting this video in the forum. Ask them. You can ask them in the YouTube kind of comments as well, I guess. But for the most of the time, YouTube comments are very limited to shit you can post there. So you know, you'd be better off asking me in the forum, Epoch forum stuff instead. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.